all of a sudden it seems like employees are getting offered a lot bigger packages than they were getting before. Here's one of my thoughts on why that might be, but I'd love to get your perspective on it too. So some companies, when the pandemic hit, they just said, we've got to just lay off a bunch of folks or furlough a bunch of folks. So they did. They just kind of cut down to the bone. And they held that position for 6 months, 9 months, a year, and then decided, okay, we need to come out of this. And then they started hiring back. And I think largely it was some of those companies which started to create more of the uptick in salaries and bonuses because they needed to lure people away. But I'm sure there's other factors. What have you seen as the reason why people are getting offered so much more? Because you and I both know clients, we're not talking offered 5% more or 10% more to leave. We're talking significantly more to go jump, and it's hard to turn that away. So I'm wondering what you see as possible reasons for that.
So I'll answer your question by first saying I'm not an economist, but I'll do my best to answer. So one of the things I would say is we were actually having a phenomenal economy in the United States prior to the pandemic. It was some of the best economic activity we've had in decades. So we were in a really good place economically. The pandemic hit, and we just kind of shut down for a period of time, and then we figured out how to do business during the pandemic. And people stayed with that. They had no choice. They were worried about their livelihoods. It was an interesting, weird time. I've never seen anything like it. Well, I think as we get into the Great Resignation and people started leaving, some of them, as I said, had figured out financially how they could maybe disconnect from the workforce. They were under a lot of pressure. They wanted to leave. So they left. And they weren't coming back anytime soon. They wanted to take 3 months off, 6 months off. Some people retired early. You and I both know people in the late 50s, early 60s that said, I'm done now. So a lot of talented people took off either permanently or for long periods of time, and there was no getting them back for any amount of money. So that talent leaves the workforce. Well, what's also going on under the surface is the economy is coming back. The economy started roaring back. We lost all this talent. Very experienced talent. And in that age bracket of, maybe 50 to early 60s are a lot of senior level leaders. So they leave, people get promoted and move up, and then there's this gap underneath them. So to answer your question, I think we lost this huge group of people, and when folks really needed that talent, they had to go out and buy it. And that's why I think you've seen these huge packages. I know some of the numbers you're talking about. It's crazy money that has been thrown at people to get them to come over. And quite frankly, the retention bonuses, companies are recognizing we not only need to hire talent, we better make sure we keep the talent we've got. And the retention bonuses have been through the roof as well.
Welding together practical insights and powerful conversations to forge world-class leaders. This is the Leadership Foundry Podcast.